Okay, I don't think there's a bug there, but I can put ensure float not empty in parsing. But that's not as sexy as other things that we can do, like selections and stuff. So if you weren't here last time, you know, what's a good script? Script of dude, where's my car? Okay, so you know, I can now paste stuff into the console. I don't really sanitize new lines, so I should do that. Maybe that'll be a good thing, because new lines come out funny. But you know, I thought it would be good to be able to do selection. So my list of stuff that would be cool was, well, I realized that when you have a long string, actually we won't follow the cursor to the left here. Yeah, so that's bad. So, of course I can type out here probably, but it just expands to the left. So that's bad. So we need to fix that. Then I thought I'd do selection here and here. Oh, I should only move the cursor when I'm actually within the y extents of the input. That's another little bug. So those two things are like follow-ups on what was done before. Then I could do selection, I could do copying it into the clipboard, I could do mouse wheel to scroll back into history. And add a scroll bar on the right-hand side maybe that we can use. And that is probably enough that the Super Bowl will be over by the time all that's done. The ID ranges file is not doing anything in the release version of the witness. I don't know where these chai cookies are. Did I fix that weird bug where I had to print stuff to prevent assertion fail? Yes, that is fixed. Fixed that this morning. Try out Vulkan. Oh, that would be amusing, but you know what? I want to actually make progress on things today, so today is not Vulkan day. I'm in the mood to like make visual functionality happen as opposed to fight with an API for hours. How is this not a big rat hole in itself? It is a big rat hole in itself, but it's what I feel like working on. And at some point, if you're a programmer for your life, sometimes you just want to work on things that you feel like working on. It's also, it makes a little bit of sense too, though, because, you know, in the Witness, we have a developer console like this, and that one has all this functionality. So it's more like I'm getting the console back to where the C++ version is. So it kind of makes sense. You don't want to like regress in basic ways as you move to a new engine. Oh, line number in assert. You know, we could do that. I don't have that on my to-do list. Let me put that. We could maybe do that as a bonus goal. I really want to do this console stuff because that's just how I feel today. All right. Let me start with the smaller stuff, like when we paste. this is going to be the unsanitized paste text. And then we're going to say paste text is sanitize of unsanitized paste text. So this might also like remove other hostile characters, but for now it's just going to be new lines. Defer free paste text. So we say sanitize takes a string and returns a string and it does some stuff. It's going to return concatenate of pieces. Pieces is going to be an array of strings. We're going to say cursor is S for 0 to S dot count minus 1 if S sub I is equal to 10 or S sub I is equal to 13, then what do we do? So if we are not currently, so we could have several new lines in a row or whatever, and we want to skip all of that at once. Oh, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have cursor be an integer of what the thing is. So I'm going to say, if we hit a new line, then what we do is we say to add is a string. We're going to add it to pieces, and that's it, right? So what is to add? Well, to add dot data is s dot data plus cursor, and to add dot count is I minus cursor if to add, so don't add it if it's empty, and then cursor equals I plus 1. Maybe that works, right? Because we skip the cursor to the character after the new line. Oh, and we want I minus cursor, yeah. I feel like that's maybe good. And I gotta call this I. Have I seen the Terra language? It's basically statically typed Lua with multi-stage programming. I don't know what multi-stage programming is, and Lua is not really the kind of thing that I like to use. Like going back many years, I would have thought like, oh, something like Lua is cool, but these days I don't feel like it's the right direction for me anyway. Attempt to pass non-dynamic array, right? So we have to make this addable. All right. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me go to dude, where's my car? Hey, look, it worked, I think. There's no messy new lines. I can't really tell. Let me copy something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, O, A, B, C, D, E, G, F, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. So let me just try that, because that way we can make sure that we didn't miss any characters. Yeah. 4, 5, 6, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. Yep. Oh wait, we didn't get the. We didn't get to RST because there's no new line. Ah, see, it's good to test. It's good to test. So what? All we're missing is just this at the end. Which also means if we paste something without a new line, that won't work at all. So if I say, where's your, like this, yeah, that won't paste at all. So there we go. S dot count. Okay, so that's something without a new line, and that pasted. And then if we do this whole thing, now we have all the way up to W. So that is great. Now we might actually want to do something else in the future, like maybe you actually want to paste a bunch of commands into the console or something, and then in which case we would break it by new lines, but this is not too bad as it stands. Terra integrates code generation cleaner than strings. Well, I mean, again, the thing about code generation is, what do you do now when you want to look at your program in the debugger and see where it is? Like, what representation do you get at that time? Does concatenate free the array? No, but the person who calls this frees the array. Could I add console command suggestions as I type? I don't like that kind of stuff too much. Maybe. The thing is, we don't really have any commands yet, so you kind of want to test usability of that kind of thing, like how much does it really help me, and how much does it not do inadvertent things. And if you don't have any commands, there's nothing to test it on yet, so I don't feel like that would work. Should CRLF at least act as a space? I don't know, maybe. Do we feel like it should act as a space? Does that make sense? I mean, I sort of feel like pasting something with new lines in it is kind of an error in the first place. I don't know. Like, I don't know under what use case this is most likely to happen. Like, if you're just, like, it might be that you're pasting a command out of a file and you accidentally grab the new line, in which case it doesn't really matter if it's a space or not, probably. What about being able to call arbitrary procedures from the console? No, I don't think so. I mean, we're actually kind of close to that already. It's just this is not supposed to really be a read eval print loop for a programming language, if you know what I'm saying. It's supposed to be simpler than that, and I don't know that I would get that much use out of calling arbitrary procedures. We certainly could do it, right? But I don't know. Multi-stage programming is basically the academia term for what you're doing with code generation compilation stuff. Okay, so it's like you generate pieces of a program that then go into the program. Yeah, okay. Does sanitize leak memory, or is the pieces, they get freed by the caller just like before, it's fine. Oh, you mean this piece's array. Yeah, this array gets freed on exit, yes. Do I have tips for a new programmer? Work hard. I don't understand why people are confused about the pieces array. It's just an array. It's just an array. The things we're putting on it in the array are not separately allocated, right? We're just using the same memory of the input. We're not allocating new strings each time we do this. That is not happening. Command split across lines. More often than not, you're going to split it a word break. Okay, fine, we'll put a space. If to add, array add pieces, space between new lines. All right. Okay, now we have spaces. Any tips for an old programmer? Work hard. Okay. So that is done. Okay, so there's this thing now to fix about the fact that I'm following the cursor even if I click up here, which is not good. I'm probably just using the wrong variable to check for the y extents, because I'm definitely not following it if I'm down here. But if I'm up here, this is not good because we're going to want to select in the console, and we don't want to move the cursor in the input if we select in the console. So to prep for that, we need to fix that. Right, so I need to say get cursor mouse pointer position where's the part where I flip? Maybe I do it elsewhere. All right. Okay, so I'm going to say if success and cursor y is less than y1, then we do this. Okay, oh, what did I, what is my problem? Oh, you know what, I bet it's not flipped again. Oh, right, you know what, okay, so I already have this test. Well, if cursor inside input, mouse pointer, let's call it mouse pointer, mouse pointer inside input, input, I assume we're called input. Okay, so let's factor this out. So if oh, geez. Well, and then I do this redundant stuff. Let's make it an overload. So cursor x, cursor y. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to have a version that takes the cursor coordinates Oops, return success. And here, if any success, return false, return mouse pointer inside input, cursor X, cursor Y. Now, I'm imagining that I'm just not flipping it correctly. What am I doing? Oh, I don't have, all right. So imagine I'm not flipping it correctly, so I'm just going to say I don't remember where my flip was. Y1, oh geez. Y1 is the console's Y1. Why is that? So the console is telling us the wrong value. That's what's going on. There is no input Y1. Dude, I'm drawing the text input color behind this. That's why it's more opaque. Okay, that's a... Okay. Wait, what was I doing? Yeah, okay, so this is the console's Y0. This is a little bit confusing. Console's Y0 is here. We'll say that equals input Y1. Hey, look, we're now rejecting it. We're now rejecting it. Now we're accepting it. Now we're rejecting it. Now we're accepting it. So that's good. Okay. Now, so I want to fix this thing where, you know, if we've got a lot of text and we follow the cursor. Okay, so we don't go outside here with the mouse anymore, but I can go with the keyboard, which we want to be able to do. So what we want to say is actually, you know, when we write justify this, we want to, before we do that, say, okay, wherever the cursor is, that has to be comfortably inside by a certain amount, and probably by a lot, because you want to, if you're this far left, you probably want to see what's left of you. So let's go to that part. If I even remember where it is, So this is only 400 lines still. Oh, for the text input part anyway, not for the console part. So we draw. Where do we draw the text? Text X. This is it, right? No, this is the cursor tracking. Where is the thing where we set, oh, this is it. If our text is too wide, bump text X to the left. However, don't go further than some comfort region for our cursor. So we have M width. So I'm going to say, required, space required left of cursor is 8 times M width. I don't know. Something like that, right? Required. Okay, and we're going to put this in a whole scope here because it's its whole thing. So that's how much. So if we try to go left of that, then we're going to pan the text back to the right. Okay, so, and then we're going to say, let's call it insert point, because that's what we're calling this. Right, isn't it called insert point? Insert point, not point. Yeah, okay, so. So what we want to go do is go width to insert point is get string width in pixel. The same thing down here. To insert cut and paste from above. So this is width up to insert is that. So width including safe space equals width up to insert minus space required left of insert point. We'll just clamp that. Text X is less than X naught plus width including safe space all right. Clamp. Okay, so, whoa, that didn't work. What did we do? We went the wrong way. So if I go, I did it in the wrong direction. Okay, wait. This is obvious. Okay, this is obviously wrong right here. I want to say, um, what do I want to say? What do I want to say? Let's do this calculation in a slightly different way so I don't get as confused. So we'll say, in fact, let's put all this here. Let's put all this down here. So we've computed our text x that we would like. And then we say this and so if text x plus width up to insert is less than space x naught plus space required left of insert point, text x equals this. All right. I think that's more right than what I did. Whoa, that wasn't good. What the hell? Oh, wait. Text x equals x naught minus width up to insert, because I know basic math. There we go. That's what we wanted. So see, we're clipping on the left, we're clipping on the right. Our cursor never goes. Well, okay, that's... We forgot about... If text x is greater than 0, text x equals x0. This is a little bit messy. This is a little bit more than we need. All right. All right. I can type in the middle and it goes. You know, we really might want to make this much bigger. There we go. It's behaving correctly. Correctly. That's pretty good. What are we talking about in chat now? Some other code. Have I looked at the Roslyn C# compiler? It also does concurrent type binding and code generation. So it has to deal with the same kinds of issues. I don't like anything about what Microsoft is doing these days. I really don't. I don't think that any of the multi-threading kind of issues that I have is related to what they're going to have. Like, I just don't. Microsoft's technical design decisions are bad enough lately that I really, yeah, I don't see that I can gain anything by looking at what they're doing. No. I mean, I'm sure there's very smart people working on that project. It's just the proper guidance isn't there. Let's put it that way. Do I support insert and overwrite mode? Not currently. Would it make sense to have a multi-line command line text input? Maybe, but I mean, if it gets really long, I could also do other stuff like decrease the font size or whatever. I don't know. I mean, we could break the line if we want. I think for something like that, I more want to see if it becomes an issue. And besides, I already did all this work making it wrap, or making it, shift to the left. Then I'd have to turn all that off if I made it multi-line, man. All right. When moving cursor to right, it should go right, not still stay. Well, maybe. I mean, maybe there's sort of an active zone where it should live, like it should go to the right until. That's probably what should happen. It should be kind of like a video game camera where there's a zone in the middle. How would I do that? Let me check this in. Let's try doing it that way. So in fact, let's even forget all this. We will say, well, we'll get this. We call this padding required because this is padding required on either side. And we're just going to make it scissor width times 2.5. So we won't let you, yeah, this is going to be better for sure. Okay, so we figure out the width up to the insert, and then we say insert x is text x plus width up to insert. Now, if insert x is less than orig text x plus padding required, text x equals insert x minus padding required if, right, is that right? So, yeah, text x is less than 0, text x equals 0. All right, I think that's right. If insert x is greater than x1 minus xpad minus padding required. I always get confused by this kind of thing. Minus width up to insert, I guess. If the text is less than 0, right? Right. I feel like that's not quite right. But let's see what happens. Okay, well, first of all, it doesn't work even. Okay. So here our insert point, so we're forgetting ridge text x. Forgetting that, first of all. Well, we're still out there. Let me do these one at a time. Make sure there's nothing else down there. All right. Okay, so this one is screwing it up, which I know if I comment it out, it is no longer screwed up. So, oh yeah, because I'm saying less than 0, it should be orig text x. It's this one that should be 0, or, well, no, that's fine. They both should not be 0. Okay, so that's fine. And then this one is supposed to be the case of going off to the left. Okay, so this doesn't work anymore, but that's fine because we commented it out. Oh, but of course, if that doesn't work, right. Oh boy. We need an else here. Okay. Now that's a weird one. So I programmed it. It's not really the case that the cursor can't go to the right. It's that there can't be extra text to the right. That's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. We're not really using that first if statement at all. It's not working. So even regardless of that thing I just said, which is an extra complication, we at least want to get this thing working. So like if I'm here, Oh, right. We want, see, that's the thing is, without a coherent frame-to-frame idea of what the position is, yeah, without a coherent frame-to-frame idea of what the position is, this won't make any sense. We don't have that right now. It's mildly salted. Yeah, so in order to have this idea of like, oh, we should pan the thing. Yeah, we should do this pretty differently than we're doing it. Pretty differently. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, okay, if last text x is equal to -1, last text x equals x naught plus x pad default, right? So when we reset last text x equals -1, last text x is -1. Okay. Text x equals equal. Oops, text x get set? It's just up here, right? It gets passed. We're going to ignore that, I guess. Oh, no, we're not, because that's the left-hand side. Okay, so we're going to do a bunch of stuff, and then we're going to say last text x equals text x. So now we're going to say all this stuff stays the same. So all this stuff stays the same, and then now we say if insert x is less than orig text x, or yeah. Plus equals Well, this shouldn't be necessary then, right? Well, yeah, okay, I guess so. X1 minus xpad minus padding required. Let's call padding required something shorter. Let's call it margin. Margin text x is x1 minus xpad minus margin. Let's call it x1 minus xpad minus margin minus insert x. Text x is greater than orig text x. I guess that makes sense. Possibly. I don't know what I did there. Great. Text x is float. Let's make last text x float. All right. Whoa. Okay, that didn't work. It's just zooming off to the right. Why is that? Why is someone telling me this on left arrow stuff? That's not how I'm doing it. I'm not doing anything on left arrow. People are suggesting things that are different from how I'm doing it. This is just a basic mistake here is all. Okay, no, this is screwed up. I got confused. So insert x is text x plus width up to insert, right? Of course, that shouldn't matter if the string is empty, so that shouldn't fix anything. I'm just going to break it down like this. Delta equals text x plus margin minus insert x. Delta is whatever delta plus equals delta. Let's just even do that. Let's see what happens. Why did we have such a large delta? Orig text x. Okay. So someone is saying, I only need to store the vi, I don't know what that is, offset for the text, view offset, and change it in the draw call the same way you're doing this. It's what I'm doing right now. Why are people backseat driving saying I'm doing it wrong? This is totally fine. I'm just getting confused about what should go in these if statements, which is very normal for me anyway. It's actually harder to think when everybody's doing suggestions that are nothing to do with what I'm doing. So, okay, so the deal is, I'm saying, you know, if the insertion point for the cursor is less than that margin, which it will be at the start because the string's empty, right? Then I'm sort of doing this thing where I bump the text x to the point where it would put that at the margin. Now, that is obviously wrong if I don't have this if statement that clamps it, but what I'm trying to figure out now is why it keeps running away. Because as far as I know, even with this wrong code, it should scoot out to the margin and then stop, and then we should see the cursor at the margin, but we don't see that. We don't see the cursor at all. It's just going, it's going to infinity. Why is that? Ever try the font text atlas approach to this kind of thing? That is what I am doing. Okay. So I don't get it. There must be just a dumb mistake messing everything up. Okay, they're both, okay, here's what I don't get. They're both going to infinity, right? Oh, never mind. This is not right. This should be, that's the mistake. And we need to bound this by a fixed screen coordinate, not by something that moves. Okay, so that's what I would expect. That is what I expected to see. So now we say, okay, if textx we say text x min is oh God, this is terrible. Okay. Oh no, this is okay. This is a disaster. So the problem is you know, this code has changed meaning a few times, and there were a couple small hacks that piled up. So we have to do a thing where we pass in xpad here, and we don't derive it from anything. Let's miss it. What? Oh, that's the wrong draw. Draw. Okay, so we pass input pad here, because otherwise we will have problems. Okay, other people draw the text entry. So I've got to go in there. And say 0. Okay. Okay, fine. Now that we have a more fixed worldview, what are we even in text input? So now that we have a more fixed worldview, we can actually use this without fear. There we go. I keep typing pad instead of xpad, which means my brain doesn't work. Okay, I don't know. that didn't work. Oh, greater than. It's greater than. All right. So we've got something happening here. Well, we really want, because we know that's not right yet. All right, fine. Well, although if we never pan to the right, we're never going to pan back to the left. So actually we have to make that one work. Okay, otherwise, if we're greater than that, we're going to say, so width after insert is the full text width minus width up to insert, right? So text x is x1 minus xpad well, so what's the we want, again, delta is insert, well, x1 minus xpad minus margin minus insert x, text x minus equals delta. If text x is if it's so we're moving actually no, plus equals delta, that's wrong. I specifically chose delta in this order that we always add it positively, but this means we're moving the text to the left. If text x min is x1 minus xpad minus text width, if text x is also text x min, text x equals text x min. Right? Maybe. Let's see. Ah, that wasn't good. We're getting there. Okay, now we're just freaked out. Now we're just dead. Let's get rid of this part. See what happens just in isolation. It's fine. Of course, our cursor width is greater than our xpad, and that's sloppy, but we will have to deal with that. So it's kind of working, I guess. And the left is kind of working, but the combination of these two does something very bad. Well, let's at least get a slight moral victory and add the M width here. Oh, xpad minus. All right, let's do that. Whoops. That didn't really work, which is interesting. Actually, this is not the check. We want well, yeah. Right? So that means that check is wrong in the other one. Okay. So now let's get this is weirding me out that it's the same check in both ifs. That doesn't seem right, but damn it. Oh, because I'm using, this is stupid. Stupid mistake. All right, so we go back. Hey, we go forward. Hey, okay, so now it mostly works. So now the only problem is that we're saying that the rule is that the cursor can't be too far toward the right edge of the screen, but what it really is the amount of text after the cursor should not be that far. Wait. The amount of text after the cursor right? Width after insert is this. So no, it's really that we want the cursor to be there, but only so as we're on the screen, we're coming toward the right. Here's the invisible barrier. Right, we want to move the text to the left. And we want to say if text X is if text x is less than x1 minus xpad minus I don't have a clear idea of what I'm trying to do is the problem now. So we should be fine. We should let the cursor come toward the right until like it's a very simple expression that we're looking for, but my head isn't giving it to me, right? So we should actually just let me keep typing to the right. Okay, if I think about this like a camera position, it'll be simple, right? I don't know why I'm not doing this. This is exactly the same as a video game camera, right? Which is exactly the same as a video game camera. So what happens is we keep going to the right, and then we just clamp it on the right. I don't know why my brain isn't, oh man, I've been stupid all this week, which makes it funny that I've been streaming so much, because maybe I'm stupid all this week because I've been streaming so much. So if this is a video game camera position, and the anchor for the camera, I don't like that. Just snap there a little bit. No, that's fine, actually. The anchor for the camera is there. Then we say, okay, so I'm going to say x right is x1 minus xpad minus margin minus minus m width. So that should not have changed anything yet. We just renamed undeclared identifier x right because I didn't say this. Should not have changed anything in the, yeah. So I'm just naming things to make it simpler to think about. So I've got some x right, and there's a margin that I want to be inside that. So I just say if text x is less than x right minus text width text x equals x right minus text width. And then we, maybe that's, I don't know, man. Hey. Whoops. I did the thing where I should have fixed that bug. Don't hit the down arrow when there's no history. Okay, so we've got a margin. We've got a margin. Hey, look, I somehow, despite the fact that I'm dumb, managed to do the right thing. I should have done that in like 5 minutes, but it took like 45 minutes. All right, this has been a test. Hey. All right, this is all fine. It's not really fine that it took me that long to do that. Okay. Now let's do some more things. I was going to either do, I feel like I need some warm liquid to wake my brain back up, so I'll put it forth to you guys. I can do one of two things first. I plan to do both of these before the end of the day. We might break it into another stream. But I can either do a selection, right? So I could drag rectangles in the text and then hit Control-C to copy them out. Or I could do mouse wheel through the console history. What do you guys prefer of those options? Mouse wheel, assert line numbers, mouse wheel. Everyone says mouse wheel. That's a lot of mouse wheel. Everybody says mouse wheel. So I guess we're going to do that. While I'm waiting for the tea to heat up, since we need to browse through the console history, we need to have a console history without me slamming on stuff. So here's what I will do. In fact, we might as well make a utility function here. Script is movie script is a string fin. Okay. Let's make sure that compiles, and I didn't. All right. So init console strings break into lines, movie script, for strings, console add to history it. Right, and then break into lines. Break into lines is going to be a lot like that thing that we did about pasting here. In fact, it's the same thing. So here's what we do. We're going to copy this and then we're going to make it, whoops. Here we say return an array of string, return pieces. Now instead of adding a space to pieces, we're just not going to add anything. Right? So let's see about that. Oh, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? So its console add to history is not working. Oh, because it's got a, probably. No. Wait, console add to history. Wow. So I felt good about doing that whole break into lines thing so fast, but oh, because we've probably got a bug in our, well, let's do it this way for a second. Yeah, so we have a bug in our line division, which we should debug before we do anything. So we're not going to do the scroll wheel yet. We've got to fix this bug so that we can then go on and do the rest. But before I even debug that, so like I said, I was gonna do the sanitize. Since sanitize and break into lines is, let me go back to console, break into lines. So we're gonna pass between lines string. That's an optional argument that starts as empty string, and we're going to say if between lines string array add pieces between lines string. Yeah. So then back in text input, our sanitize is just going to say pieces is break into lines s with a space between and return. Oh, I forgot this part. I forgot that part. So sanitize then becomes very short. Break into lines needs to be at export scope. Okay, so I guess I will paste the same thing. Paste. Okay, so, well, that appeared to work, but then once I try to add it to the history, so the paste worked, I think. Adding it to the history is having the same bug crash thing. I don't know why. Let me try that just to validate that. Let me try it with a shorter thing. So I'm going to paste morning guys. No. Are we screwing something up? What is happening? This is terrible. Okay, so we've got the LLVM backend going. I'm pasting. Oh, it might be an x64 specific bug because now we're not crashing. I do know of 1 or 2 x64 backend specific bugs. Well, if that's an x64 bug, I don't know if I want to deal with it right now. I might just stay in LLVM mode till later. Let me see. So let me just see if this, no, okay, that's happening in LLVM also, so we got to debug it. Running the debugger, starting null dereference in copy string. We have a string with a count of -1. We're generating a bad string in break into lines. And it's the first. Following story is based on actual events. That's the start of the thing. How is the count -1? How is the count -1? To add dot count. So I should always be, oh, because cursor is I plus 1. But then we iterate and I should increment. Well, if to add dot count is less than 0, to add dot count printf debugging is stupid, but we're doing it. That didn't happen, so neither of those is printing. What? This is very strange. Oh, maybe it's the between lines string? How? Okay. Back when we're up here, break into lines. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say for strings, assert it.count is greater than or equal to 0, because if that's not true, okay, our assert isn't going off. So what it is, actually, when we crash there, it's the console's line breaking thing that has generated this bad string. It's not the new stuff that we did, it's the stuff that we did the other day. Right? I believe so. So let's, whoops, having that script in here is goofy. So let's get rid of this stuff for now, and this stuff, because that's not the problem. The problem is add as well. It's this stuff. It's probably this one. And it's probably that we have 2 new lines in a row. If subtext dot, well, how do we get here? So I bet it's just 2 new lines in a row cause us to freak out. Or no, that's not right, because this doesn't care about new lines. There's no new lines here. This is, did I get the wrong T? What the hell tea is this? I got a peppermint tea. I meant to get a caffeinated one. Okay. Okay, let me at least put an assert here and it'll go off. I guarantee almost that that'll go off. I wouldn't bet my life on it, but there we go, it went off. So that's good. This is the problem. So under what conditions can this be 0? Well, if the string is empty, then there's nothing in it. Okay, so there we're infinite looping. Right, because we're not advancing the string. All right. That's a disaster. Hold on. Yeah, now we're infinite looping again. This was just a guess. I don't know why. Okay, so I need to look at this code and understand under what conditions is it empty. So we go over all of S, right? We're increasing this. We get our text width. So we shouldn't get, this is weird. So something is malfunctioning, like we're getting a bizarre glyph that's like wider than the screen or something is what's happening, because we shouldn't ever get an empty string. We should never get an empty string. Okay, so we're not crashing. Why is... So if we add single line to history, there's our dude, where's my car? But are we adding just a crap load of blank lines? Like, what's happening? No, we're just not adding anything. We're skipping over everything. Oh, geez. We might have not, we haven't initialized our screen geometry yet. That's what's happening. That is what's happening. Damn it. Okay, so the problem is we're calling init console before we call init variables. So we don't, like our x0 and x1 are all 0 and stuff. So then everything is bigger than the screen because the screen is 0 wide. I assume it makes sense for now to do init console after we init variables. right? No, wait, we must init variables earlier. Reload variables. There it is. And that happens. Oh, no. Let's just, well. So when we get in this weird condition, we're going to say, I bet that's the problem. I bet it. Yes, I told you. So why, I thought, this happens from init console. Init console happens here, which is in init game. Which happens after we load the variables. Oh, but wait, the console stuff isn't variable. Why did I think that? The console's not in the variables file. That's just something that we're drawing. The margin is in the variables file. Okay. Okay. Basically, the thing that we're doing right now, we really probably shouldn't do in init console. Here's what we're going to do. This is because this is a stupid hack anyway, we sort of found a bug. Like if we ever tried to draw a glyph wider than the screen, we would crash. So we fixed that. But this is still stupid. So break into lines. So we're just going to do this. Added initial text is false. Let's put that, well, here. And the first time we say draw, because this is where we actually know what our geometry is. We'll say if added initial text. This is not completely kosher, but any solutions to this that are like more organized, like just make you do stuff that you don't really want to do. Okay, there we go. We're word wrapping. I hope everybody's happy. What is this tea? This tea is terrible. Oh, I know what it is. I got the green tea accidentally and put too hot of water. Back in a second. Okay, is there any questions about what just happened there? Because the next step is going to be to do mouse wheel stuff. Mouse wheel stuff. Any questions? You want to word wrap the full word. We could do that. I don't want to do that yet. Because being able to scroll back, we'll do features in order of importance. A goofy word wrap like the one here, or you get shib space b. You know, that's a little bit dumb, but it's less dumb than not being able to read what's further back in the history. So we'll do that, but I will write down better word wrap. Is this console going to be accessed by users? Maybe. I mean, so first of all, we're going to ship this code to everybody who wants to use the language. So if they want to put this console in their game, they can. And then for ours, I don't know. I mean, some games enable these, some don't. Quake did, right? That was cool. What's my opinion on the Odin programming language? I have not looked at it very closely. I'm only very generally aware of what he's doing. So, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so let's start doing scroll back. First, I don't even know if I have mouse wheel. I don't. Let's make key codes. Mouse, wheel, up is arbitrarily 27. We might assign better codes to this later at some point in the future. Actually, let's put this stuff. In 3D space, I prefer positive x's forward, positive y's to the left, and positive z's up. That is the only coordinate system that to me really makes sense. This whole like minus z coordinate system like people use in modelers is goofy. It's goofy. Yeah, I mean scrolling the output buffer. We can already scroll commands actually. So I need to make a couple fixes to it, but if I go ABC, DEF, GHI, JKL, I can scroll through those. That already works. What doesn't work is being able to see the beginning of this fine film whose script has scrolled off the screen. So we're going to do that. I realize, though, that because we're using like control keys and stuff, it's probably a good idea to move all this stuff out of the control key range. Which means for now, actually, let me just do it this way. So I'm going to start a macro, next line, beginning of line, search for colon, go back, K, comma, end macro, execute. Oh God, that didn't work. It worked fine till I got to the function keys. Start macro, next line, search, colon, forward, back, kill, comma, end macro, execute. All right, I can still type. Oh, come on, really, what? What happened? Do I have to debug something else now? Arrow keys still work, that's good. How could me changing these break entering text? Let's find out. That is weird. That is weird. Array reserve, array add, handle event. Like we're barfing. Yay. Context.allocator is default allocator for resize. Oh, our data pointer is garbage. Well, I don't trust this. This is why I don't try to use the debugger too much, because it's wrong sometimes. But it's at least consistently wrong. Array, handle event, command history. Input. Command history. That array sure is garbaged. Oh, because I overwrote the input buffer. Probably. Because this does look like kind of like ASCII characters. How did I overwrite the input buffer? We totally tested that. That's weird. No, we didn't, because it stops. Okay, input buffer stops there. So this happens to be the item after input buffer, which is suspicious. Maybe it's just not initialized for some reason. Key is equal to 13. Right, that's why, so I'm clearing this stuff out of that range, because this 13 is supposed to be enter. Oh, but I guess enter should be 13. Was it 13 or was it 10? Dude, I don't even know. Maybe that broke something. Okay, well, right, so but there must have been some coordination between using the constant enter. I guess that's 10. Oh. Right, so enter. We're getting a 13. This is weird. So basically what's going on is we've got some kind of garbage happening in our text input events, which frankly I'm going to have to clean. That's on the to-do list. I don't even know if this is the right thing for enter right now. Control M, I guess is, it should be 13, right? Yeah. Anyway, that it's on the to-do list to like do a top to bottom rejiggering of all this stuff. I was only moving it for now just to give us a little more space to put mouse wheel. So I'm going to ignore the fact that there's something bad going on here because it's going to go away when we clean it all out. Okay. So we want the ability to do mouse wheel. So here we have WM mouse wheel and H wheel. I don't know what H wheel is, but WM input. Okay. WM key down, WM care, WM paint. WM mouse wheel. Chat has gone off the deep end. Do I have had any doubts about making this? No. I'm much happier programming in this language than I was in C++, even given the incomplete state of, for example, the input library and stuff like that. I just like it so much better. Okay, mouse wheel message. W-param, the high order word indicates the distance the wheel rotated, expressed in multiples or divisions of wheel delta. The positive value indicates that the wheel is forward. Dude, I don't know. Yeah, this is a very operating system dependent idea. So we're going to make a separate event type. Event dot type equals event type dot mouse wheel. We're going to say event dot wheel delta is wheel delta. And then how do we, I've got some version of like high word and low word. Do I not? I don't. All right. Well, the high order. Okay. Event. No, I'm in the wrong place. Wheel. Event dot. Typical, we'll call that event dot wheel delta. We'll call this, I don't even know. Wheel delta is the low, no. The high order word indicates the distance the wheel is rotated. So W param 16. Array add event Q event. So we've got to make such a thing as mouse wheel events. Okay. And then in Windows, you have wheel delta, and then what else? I guess, I don't know, maybe that's it. Oh yeah, we need a typical wheel delta and a whatever. So of type S32. Wait, W param right shift, how is that? Wait, what? W param and L param are not 64-bit, are they? Are they W param type? As a type def for long pointer. Oh. I can't just W param high word. What is the macro? Okay, define high word. What is it? High word. So we right shift by 16, but we have to mask it. Mask by 16 bits. Okay. Well, we're not doing anything with that, so now let's go into our program and say, into console, event, if event.type is equal to event type.mouse wheel, print mouse wheel delta boom event.wheel delta. Hey, 120, 165,416. Okay, well, obviously we're not doing the negative numbers properly. Okay. Not doing the negative numbers properly. I guess this seems to have been designed so you could have fractions of ticks, but it seems like nobody's really doing that. So for now, we'll say, okay, so wheel delta. Cast S64. All right, will that do it? No. What did I? That's weird. I made that signed. I might have a sign conversion bug. I might have a sign conversion bug. Let me put that on the compiler to-do list. Anyway, so I'm gonna say W param right shift 16 cast S16. We don't have to mask it, right? There we go. We got minuses and pluses. Pluses and minuses. Okay. Good. Now, numTicks is event.wheel delta divided by event.typical wheel delta. If numTicks navigate history numTicks. So we're going to say we have, let's start to put our variables together. So we've got a text input, we've got a history, and we want to say bottom line index is 0. So we say navigate history. God, I keep jumping to the bottom to add stuff and the script is there. Navigate history, numtix int, bottom line index plus equals numtix clamp, bottom line index 0, history dot count minus 1. This still will not do anything because we're not using it. Now, when we draw the console, we say bottom input history -1 minus bottom index. All right. What did I call it? Bottom line index. Now this is going to be weird because it's going to let us scroll so far up that the top line will be on the bottom, but we'll fix that. Right, so, hey, following story is based on actual events. Dude, where's my car? So that's good. We need a longer script. That's what I think. Here's what I think we need. Putney Swope movie script. I need this whole script. And then okay, maybe we pasted that correctly. All right, so my mouse has you can unhook the scroll, so it'll like scroll quickly. You can unhook the momentum. There we go, we're scrolling way back. Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Dr. Alvin Weasley. It's for men who doubt their masculinity. Okay, so that seems to work, right? I'm glad you like The Witness. B movie. I don't know what colon set paste is. I use the Logitech G900s on all my computers, and I like them. They're good. They are good mice. The only problem is they don't track on glass, like some of the other Logitech mice do. But aside from that, they are good. Now, let's just say we're going to make this thing called local bottom line. No. Okay. Do I want to prevent scrolling up higher? Like, I'm not sure. Do I want to prevent you from... Okay. So now Putney Swope is way too long to test the next. Let's get something shorter, like... I'm just not really thinking of a good thing. we can just do a short piece of Putney Swope. We can do face off. Oh, that's not a good choice for a family-friendly stream. Let's just pick a random bit of it that's not that big. All right. So, okay. So do I want to prevent this, or is it fine? Like, I could lock it so that we can't go any further than like that. The weird thing about that is you don't want to lock it. The weird thing about that is that our console can be up at different heights, right? And if I lock it here and then I open, I'll have weird stuff happen. I'm not going to lock it. You know what? Because I don't care that much. And what I should do then, we should add a scroll bar so you can tell where in the thing that you are on the right-hand side. How do you guys feel about that? Scroll bar. Okay, so our choices are now scroll bar or copy and paste out of this into Windows, right? So select, visual select, or scroll bar. One vote for scroll bar. Everyone says scroll bar. Visual select. Oh, 2 people say select. A lot of people. 3 people select. Scroll bar, scroll bar, scroll bar. I feel like the votes are coming out in favor of scroll bar. We'll do them both today. We'll get to all this today. But people, I think the majority of people are saying scroll bar. Scroll bar is not that easy, necessarily. I mean, drawing it is not that hard, but then, you know, maybe you want to be able to use it in different ways or whatever. Okay. So how is the scroll bar going to work? We are going to there's different ways that you could compute your position. You know what? We're just going to draw a bar. Let's not even care about anything else. Let's draw the bar, and then we'll do all the finicky graphic stuff because the bar is going to eat, you know, some of our space that we've been using for other things. So let's go into here. We've got our console visuals. We're going to say scroll bar background color. We're going to say, why don't I have a foreground? Well, scroll bar bar color. And let's put these in a separate section. Let's actually put these by subject. Report input scroll bar, that's easier to read. Scroll bar width is going to be a float that's 0 to 1 by how much of the console to take up ratio-wise. So 1 would mean the entire width of the console is the scroll bar width. And 0 means there's no scroll bar. What use is a scroll bar in a terminal? If it goes way, way, way back, you want to be able to click toward the top of the scroll bar to go super far back in the history. You don't want to have to like spin the mouse wheel for 10 minutes. Plus you also want, it also just acts as a visual report on where you are in the text, right? You can look and see, oh, here's how much there is. Okay, so we will say, up here, we will say scroll bar x0 is scroll bar I width is scroll bar width times x1 minus x0 if scroll bar I width is less than 1, equals 1. Scroll bar x0 is x1 minus scroll bar I width, and scroll bar, or x1 equals scroll bar x0. So we're adjusting the console inward and giving room for that scroll bar. Let's see if that even compiles. Yeah. So why are we still on LLVM? Let's get rid of that. And then let's go to our all.variables and let's set these colors. Scroll bar, background color. What were our variables? Scroll bar, background color. We'll make that just a little brighter or something. I don't know. Scroll bar, bar color. A lot brighter. It's going to be ugly. Scroll bar width. We'll make it pretty fat to start. That's like 10% of the entire console, which is a lot. All right, well, I kind of can't tell. I think it's working, right? Because we've pulled in the right-hand side, but we're not drawing anything yet. So let's draw the scroll bar. Draw the scroll bar. Okay, so I'm just going to make these things file scope. X0, whoops, int, not it. Int, X0, Y0, X1, Y1. And then we're just going to say draw scroll bar. And scroll bar. Just gonna make short names for these. Scroll bar background color. Integer versus floats. Yeah, because x1. Yay. Yeah. I really should decide if I'm doing ints versus floats, because that's kind of what happens is, see, yeah. Once you start mixing ints and floats, you have to cast back and forth all the time, and that's a sign that you're not being good about things. Oh, God. Here we go. Console int quad. Because I kind of have to decide which way I'm going. You kind of actually want both a little bit. I don't know, because when you're drawing vectorized shapes, you kind of want you know what? I'm actually being won over to the idea that these should be integer, or float, sorry. And then anytime you draw text, you should snap that to integer. Yeah, okay, so we'll get rid of these. All right, look at that scroll bar. Isn't it great? Isn't it amazing? Let's adjust the size, right? So 0.05, 0.025, 2. That's pretty good, right? Something like that. Okay, so then here's what I'm going to do. Draw a scroll bar. We're going to do another quad. We're going to say T0 for now is 0. T1 is let's just say half. And we're going to make not x0, we're going to make an xx0, no. We're going to make a bx for bar. And so let's say b is x1 minus x0 divided by 20. Just a really thin border around it before you get to the scroll bar. If b is less than 1, b equals 1. So bx0 is x0 plus b, bx1 is x1 minus b, by0 is y0 plus b, by1 is y1 minus b. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Actually, we could make this a variable. Let's do that. Player control, scroll bar, margin is going to be a float, 0 to 1 by how much of the scroll bar width. Okay, so times scroll bar margin, right? Which is going to be 0 at first because we didn't set it. Scroll bar margin is going to be 0.1. Yeah. How's that? Let's edit the colors though. I think we really want, let's make this a little more green. I don't know. I mean, these are going to be ugly colors, but 388. That's kind of ugly, but it'll suffice for now. Right? And then, so we and then by1 equals lerp, by0, by1, t1, right? So t1 is going to be like, where should the scroll bar go up to? So there we go. That's a little weird because we have a stretching scroll bar as the console grows, but I guess that's the right thing. Whoa, what happened there? Dude, my mouse wheel is only going up now all of a sudden. Something broke. Oh, dude, I do have a casting problem. Here's what happened. We're going to have to be in LLVM for a while. I bet it'll work now. Yeah. So this will be a fun, we'll have x64 debug day soon, which people will get to see what's happening in x64. So I'm going to write x64 scroll wheel bug. Basically, that conversion to signed 16-bit is not working properly, or there's some kind of sign problem only in x64. And I actually have several other bugs of about that magnitude. Like there's a bug where if you return a float 32, but it's also an implicit cast up to float 64 at the same time, like that doesn't work. So that'll be a fun stream. Fun for some definition of fun. Okay. Anyway, so now I just want to make the scroll bar visually adjust to where we are. That's going to be a little bit odd, because I'm either going to have to guess where the rendering is going to end, which is actually fine. Yeah, okay. Let me set T1. So T1 will be easy. So we also want to say by0 So whatever these original extents were for the maximum amount of the scroll bar, we want to lerp by those from T0 to T1. Okay, so now T0 is, instead of 0, it's going to be, well, history. So lines is going to be history.count. If lines is less than 1, lines equals 1. Do not divide by 0. So T0 is going to be bottom line index divided by float lines. T1 is going to be top line index, right? But we don't have that yet. And what's that? What's top line index going to be? This is going to be a guess. So top line index is going to be bottom line index bottom line index plus cx1 minus cx1 minus cx0 divided by character height. And I'm going to put a comment here because there's a better value. Use the typical line spacing value, not character height. You know. All right, so we're basically estimating, okay, how many lines is that thing going to do? So top line index is bottom line index plus, and this is counting backward from the newest line, right? Divided by font.character height, and font is report font. See if all that makes sense. Hey, look, It's a visual scroll bar. How cool is that? So, you know, just like people get intimidated by compilers and they're all like, oh, it's so hard to make a parser and stuff. People get intimidated by UIs and they're like, oh, it's so hard to make. And it's not really. I mean, the thing that buries you with UI is the thing that buries you with a lot of stuff, which is when you allow things to get more and more complicated, it eventually becomes too many competing concerns. But that's one reason why we do immediate mode GUI, because that makes it so much simpler. So of course there's a lot that I haven't done yet, like so we can't drag the scroll bar, we can't click, and we'll do those things next. I think I will check this in. But see how nice that is already, just to have like, oh, we see where we are in the document. Like, that's cool. Keep in mind, we've written this whole thing, right? Like the whole console. Remember, I started with nothing on a stream. I don't know how many days ago it was, but I've programmed almost the entire console on stream. So you've seen the whole thing if you watch it. You know, all this, all the input stuff. I didn't quite do this part, but that was only like 20 minutes or something. Yeah, so it's a tractable problem. And this is in a programming language that doesn't even have a fleshed out library. It doesn't have, I mean, it's got compiler bugs that I have to dodge all the time and stuff. So it's tractable. So if you ever want to write in your own favorite language, your own little GUI stuff, you totally can. Don't let people say, oh my God, it's such a big impossible thing, because it's really not. The scroll bar doesn't overlap the input right now. So actually we should test this. But somebody is saying correctly, oh, the scroll bar should not overlap the input. And I believe I set things up. So if I copy, lay some bread on it, and I just keep pasting that, right? So you'll see actually all that stuff we did earlier today now stops at this line and not this outer line. Yeah, so we already did that. Lay some bread on it. I kind of want to do a thing where if you paste something in or type something in the middle, it gets a different color, but we'll do that later. Oh, that's not good. We got to fix that, but that's part of the game. Part of the game. What the hell was that? I wanted to lay some bread on it. It's dying in the same place. I guess that means it's not an LVM bug. Wait, no, this was a different, this is like that thing. Is this the same thing where we add a string that's... We have some kind of a dire problem. I think this is a compiler bug, honestly, the more that we look at it. Because it went away before when I was messing with the input stuff, but I think that was coincidence. I think it's just, we have something that's sensitive to, you know what, let's run the debug compiler on it and see if we get an assert. No? All All right, this is something we're going to have to debug, but I don't want to debug it yet. I'm going to put it on the to-do list for later. Fix crash, because it may be a compiler bug, and fixing that may take us pretty far afield from what I want to do right now, which is A, get some hot tea, but B, finish making this scroll bar work. Finish making the scroll bar work. What is it under? What is what under? I don't understand the question. Let's do questions while I make tea. I think they meant that the scroll bar should only go down to the top of the next input. The top of the next input. The scroll bar should be the size of the area it's scrolling. It already is. I don't understand what you guys are saying. So you see when this is open a little bit, right? This is like a third of the text or something. Oh, well. Oh, right. Duh, okay. No, I get what you guys are saying. I thought I did this correctly, but I didn't, right? Because the numbers that I chose for T0 and T1 are like the console maximum numbers. And really, they shouldn't be the maximum numbers. They should be get console bottom. Right? Scroll bar. So T0, wait. Top line index, wait, CX1, no, oh God, I didn't do, so I divided an X amount here. We don't want X, we want, so view bottom, I don't know, see, sometimes I just do the stupidest things. So we were looking at a scroll region, but it corresponds to how far the width of the console would be if you divided by character heights, which makes no sense. No sense. View bottom is get console bottom, and that's a float. So view top is going to be console y1, which I guess is from 0 to, yeah. Buffer height. Let's see if that's right. We don't have a console Y1. I guess it's just back buffer height, really. Because we never, all right. So now, oh geez, we're, okay, that's weird. Okay, I screwed up the actual drawing, but yeah, you see when we're small, it's a smaller proportion, and when we're big, it's a bigger proportion. So that part is fixed. So T0 is bottom line index. divided by lines, T1. I don't understand how we're getting outside now. So here we're outside the box, right? So we're going, you know, it looks like we're just getting inside with the top is our invariant there. Maybe not. Anyway, so what did I do wrong? Let's see. So we've got a bottom line index and a top line index. And so T1 can be greater than 1, but we're allowing that. This is dumb. This is 0. That's what's going on. No, that's not 0. It's the other way around. It's view top. I always get confused because, you know, Windows does left-handed screen coordinates and I do right-handed and whatever. Okay, hey, it's in the right place. So that's what you guys were talking about, right? Is to get this right. I thought I had that right, but I didn't, and now I do. Right? Now I'll make some tea. So meanwhile, while I was saying that it's totally within your power to build this kind of stuff for yourself, you have to be willing to get it a little bit wrong and then fix it, because most human beings will get some things wrong when they do them. And everybody will make different mistakes, so that's why the world is interesting. Okay. We're going to take a 5-minute break. 5-minute break. When we come back, more scroll bar functionality. Yeah, it's supposed to go all the way off the screen because it's supposed to tell you exactly. Oh, you mean it probably shouldn't write over its own border if that's what you mean. It should, like the width of this should go off the top because that mirrors what happens here. But yeah, we probably, because I want this to be an exact correspondence. Even, although we might make a minimum size like Windows does if it gets really, really small. But yeah, we're not leaving the border there, right? So that's a good point. We will say if by1 is greater than t1 minus b, by1 equals t1 minus b, right? So we'll just sort of clip it. Whoa! Less than, and not t1 because t1's a parameter. I need a 5-minute break. I will tell you that. Okay. Whoa, I mean greater than that, not less than. That is when you know I need a break, man. All right, so we're going up, we're going up. Oh, yeah, it just leaves the border there. Just a little border. I kind of feel like we want to add a +1 there. I don't know why. Oh, right, because this is because the quad drawing routine is exclusive, sort of. Yeah. Well, that didn't. This is where you spend all your time on GUI, is you're like, that's 1 pixel off from what I thought. Actually, so here we should do okay, so B is floor of B, right? So that's integer-ish. These are going to be integer-ish. Ridge, by0, it's floor, or by0 plus 0.5. So, I don't know. Redeclaration of B. Oh, yeah. Why do I keep doing this? I don't know, man. It's like off by 1. I don't know why. I'm gonna write that down as a later thing because, you know, we're taking things in priority order. So it's weird that it's off by 1 pixel. Scroll bar top, off by 1 pixel. All right, we're back to 5-minute break. That's the wrong. I gotta find which buffer. Okay. Yeah, the UI does need particles. It needs lots of stuff. We're going to add cool stuff to this. We've got to get it up to the basics, and then we'll add good action. It will have explosions. This scroll bar will have explosions. I guarantee. I guarantee. Okay. Five-minute break. 5-minute break. 5-minute break. So what's going on? I don't think I like the looks of what's going on in chat now. I don't. What are my thoughts on how to correctly architect a GUI in code? So you guys are sending me this image with a console that has a scroll bar. Whose console is that? Oh, you're saying you want the scroll bar to be above the input line? Is that what you're saying? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not more correct one way or the other. It's just like, which way do you like it? Why should the scroll bar stop at the input line? Who cares? Why does it matter? The reason that happens, so the reason that a lot of people do it that way is if they're using a retained mode GUI, then you like have this thing where widgets are nested in a hierarchy, and then the hierarchy of the input bar is above the other ones or whatever. Like, it doesn't, I don't see that one is more correct than the other. Like, I don't understand, right? The way it is now makes it seem like the text input should scroll along with the rest of the text. Fine. If you guys want to do that, it seems like everybody is insistent on this, so let's do it. So scroll bar, this is all going to be similar. We're going to draw the text input. We're going to say scroll bar width is the same. Y0 is input.y1. Right, and then we change this. Yeah. Still have my float to int problems. Hey, are you guys happy now? Look, it's only in the other part. Now I want to make it bigger though. It's weird. It seems weird now. It seems too small. Maybe it's really this up here. Do I have a control for that? Am I using that? Top pad ratio. Let me see if that actually changes. Oh. That's not too bad. And then scroll bar width. That's too fat and chunky though. I don't know, man. This is the weird console that doesn't even take up the whole screen. So let me change that back. Where is that? 0 to 1. I don't know, man. Whoa. Okay, so it's pretty obvious that the vertical, oh, never mind, because I was scrolled. I was going to say, oh, the vertical's messed up, but it's not. Having it stop at the input line gives you more room for explosions. That is a good reason. If you guys had said that first, then that would be fine. However, when you scroll the scroll bar up, the rocket thrust that comes out the bottom will not have as much room. But that's fine. I'd almost have the width of the scroll bar and snacker. I don't know what that means. And switch the green for carbon, dark ash, and gray. Yeah, we'll pick better colors and stuff way later. Right now, I just want to do programming functionality. Fade in the scroll bar based on how much text there is off screen. Well, what? That would be redundant because you already have that information of how much text is off screen because it's that. Anyway. Let's make it so we can, so let's think about mouse control of the scroll bar, right? So, what do we want mouse control of the scroll bar to be like? So if I click, what does that mean? Do I put the bottom where I click or the middle? Probably the middle, I would guess. And then, but if I click on it, that's going to be different, right? Because if I click on it, then I want to drag with the mouse. So it's sort of two separate cases. But we can do them separately. He will never be able to click it at the top. Oh, whatever, dude. Okay. So let's make it handle mouse clicks, and then we can decide what the nuances of that should be. So event. We don't even have a scroll bar like class. We probably will eventually. Yeah, let's do that. So we have a scroll bar. Here's a struct. And then we'll say draw is using scroll bar, pointer to scroll bar, and okay, draw scroll bar, draw pointer to scroll bar. We'll do that. We'll put this here. And we'll say draw pointer to the scroll bar, dot, 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 dot. What did I miss? Missing expected. Oh yeah, this is not C++. And then of course, right, so line 66, this is no longer necessary. That was goofy. Scroll bar, all right, I forgot to change that. Okay, so now we just have to handle event. Scroll bar. Using scroll bar, event. Okay. So now we had this thing in the text input where we said mouse pointer inside. Ideally, we'd like to refactor this, clean up, make this work for any. You know what? Okay. We're going to do this the crappy way and make it work, and then we're going to do awesome metaprogramming. So I'm going to put that down. Awesome metaprogramming. Now, you know what? Because we only need the awesome metaprogramming for error checking, and we don't even need that. So here's what we're going to do. Let's make sure everything compiles, which it probably doesn't. What is even going on? What is even going on? I got to fix that bug. Okay, oh yeah, so I didn't finish what I was doing. Let's not even do that because it's just going to print for every event so far. Okay, so we're here, we can do our stuff. Now, oh, and then, so remember that we did earlier today, if we click in here, the text input isn't handling the event, but if we click in here, it is, right? So that's good. We are double buffering, yes. That's built into the rendering system in a different place than we're looking. So now instead of saying mouse pointer inside input, I'm just going to say using, well, we'll just say widget is of some type, right? And then cursor X, cursor Y, and widget dot X0, X1, Y0, Y1. So now we'll just take one step here and just say, okay, how about that? Too many arguments. Wanted one? What are you talking about, wanted one? Oh, inside. Oh, because I call it directly, right. From a different place, don't I? Text input 314. Yeah. Well, we could even just do that. Right. Okay, so, whoops. This should still work, so it's ignoring, it's working. So basically, we're just making this polymorphic, and we're not going to error check right now. The awesome metaprogramming would error check to make sure you have x0, x1, like at call time. But for now, we're just going to say, well, you know, widget $t widget, right? So now, and we can put this stuff in console now because it's going to be used. It's going to be used for a lot of stuff eventually, probably. Whoops, let's put it here. We should probably have a GUI comment or whatever. Okay, so that's still using the old thing. Okay. Okay, that still works. So now that that's polymorphic, and it'll work for everybody that has x0, y0, so then on the scroll bar, handle event, we say if mouse pointer inside scroll bar return print scroll bar dot event. This is why we want generics like Golang doesn't have. Oh, God damn it. So this is funny because some of these things have integer x0 and some have float x0. So what do we do about that? I should be consistent. Let's do one thing at a time. Clean up, get rid of XX by making things consistent, float versus int. But for now, we can just insert an autocast, and the autocast will be a no-op, hopefully, if that's not buggy in the compiler. All right, so we have a scroll bar, and I click over there, it says scroll bar got event. Let's clear this out, right? But if I click over here, it doesn't say scroll bar got event. So that's great. So anything that has x0, y0, x1, y1, we can test if the mouse pointer's inside that. So now what happens? We want to respond to a click, right? So in text input, we responded to mouse button, right? Yeah. So let's do that. Scroll bar. Notice how I haven't even made scroll bar its own file yet. Like a lot of people would start with that. That's not the way that I do it. You could do that if you want, but you're very much, you know, you end up very much in a different thing. Okay, so if it's mouse button left, if pressed, right, else, released. So we're just getting more specific about what we're handling. Using event type members as well. Okay, so nothing, nothing, nothing. Pressed, not released yet, released. Okay, so that's working. So now, when we are pressed, when we're released, we're not going to do anything yet. Our first thing to do is just going to be You know what we'll just do? We'll do the simplest, dumbest thing. We will say, bottom line index equals something, and then we'll clamp that between 0. We're probably going to want to make something that like sets this and does all the checking, but I'm just saying 0 and is it history? Yeah, history.count -1. If history.count is 0, how do I? Yeah, I guess if history is 0, yeah. Clamp bottom line index. Not using usual clamp because we could have history.count -1 is equal to -1. If console is empty. So we just say if bottom line index is greater than count -1. All right. So the problem with the original clamp is it does this first and then this second, so you could end up with it being -1 on an empty console. Clamp bottom line index. All right, so instead of setting it to 0, we will say so in theory, here's the thing. We don't store mouse coordinates on the event right now, and I'm not going to change that. But it actually is bad, because if you have a lot of events over a frame and they could be moving, robustness, store mouse coordinates on event rather than grabbing them here. Like you'll end up with worse responsiveness here, but we're just going to do it anyway. Get mouse pointer position, if success, bottom line index equals cursor. Well, okay, let's say T is cursor Y minus something minus, which one is, so Y0 is on the bottom, right? Minus Y0 divided by denom. Denom is Y1 minus Y0 if denom, no denom, denom equals 1. So T is that, and then bottom line index equals cast int T times history.count minus 1? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Something like that. Semicolon expected. Well, that's fine. All right. So, click. Click. So I'm setting the bottom to wherever I click. Whoops. Grab the window. So that's good. That is progress. Now what I should do is have it follow my mouse if I'm holding the button. Initial scroll bar click handling. All right, so tracking mouse is false. Tracking mouse is false. Now, we don't actually care. So weird stuff can happen if you're in Windows. Like you can be in the window and then Alt-Tab out and then someone lets go of the mouse button. And I'm not sure if you're really guaranteed to get the event. And that's, even if you are on Windows, you may not get it on Linux. You may not get it on some specific distribution of Linux. Who the hell knows? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say up here, if we are tracking the mouse, we want to get the button state. State is input button states mouse button left. If not state, tracking mouse equals false. So even if we don't ever see a let up event, if the button is no longer, although, see this is actually only handled by us, right? So robustness, make a way to re-query the OS about whether something is really down. Handle cases like, hey, we all tabbed out to somewhere else and then let go of the mouse button. Right, because have you ever been using a program and something goofy happens where you let go of the button, but it's like still following your mouse? I hate that. Okay, so if pressed, tracking mouse equals true. Track mouse, scroll bar. Track mouse, colon, stuff, right, is do this, right? So if tracking mouse, track mouse, scroll bar. Okay, so it's not tracking. Why not? Let me actually, you know what? I might not be setting these correctly, so let's just assume that we get the event for now. Oh, it's not the problem. Oh, because, duh, we don't want to track the mouse every time we handle events. We want to track the mouse maybe when we draw or maybe when we update later on, right? So that was stupid. Tracking the mouse, check it out, we're tracking the mouse. We're tracking the mouse, we're tracking the mouse. Okay, well now it's, right, okay. So we have to at least pay attention to release, it followed my cursor. It followed my cursor when I let go. So we definitely, All right, so we're tracking, we are tracking, and I'm gonna let go out here, and it stops tracking. When it starts tracking, I will Alt-Tab, and now it's still tracking. See what I'm saying to you? So that actually probably requires, input system work. So input system track when mouse up. So I don't know, I mean on, oh wait, maybe it is us, like, I don't know, maybe Windows doesn't give you the event if you're outside the window. That'd be stupid. Anyway, I need to have a query. Let me see if, so if I'm inside the geometry of the window, but I'm here, nope, it doesn't get it. Yeah, so use set capture. I don't feel like that is really necessary or useful or a good idea. Set the mouse capture to the specified window belonging to the current thread. Set capture captures mouse input either when the mouse is over the capturing window or when. See, this is like not really gonna solve the problem. And it's annoying because you have to do all this stuff. I don't know. Menu hotkeys don't work anymore. Like what? What? I'd rather not get into that. Am I using raw input? No, not right now. What I'm using right now is just the regular window proc. Now the thing is, I would be interested in switching to raw input, except from what I remember, Ignacio did that on the witness, and then we actually had problems with stuff. Like raw input actually isn't as good as you would like it to be, unfortunately, but I don't remember now what the actual problems were. Anyway, we'll do something. So like I said, there's going to be a thing where we basically burn this down and redo it. First, I probably will make a switch statement so that this doesn't have to be a zillion ifs, for example. Or maybe it'll just be a table that we initialize at startup. That's probably better. Okay, so let's see what Windows does about some of this stuff. So if I click down here, it puts the middle of the bar where I click. That's what I thought. Now if I click here and drag, right, it actually, I'm grabbing part of the bar. If I click here and grab, oh, if I click to move, it doesn't track me. I don't know if I like that, but yeah. So we can put the middle of the bar there for sure. And then clamp it, I guess. Ban name guy 101. Why? What's he doing? Oh, politics. Politics. Yeah, I don't remember what the raw input problems we were having were, but we were having problems, I remember for sure. Okay, so the middle. The middle. The middle. Let's go look at the scroll bar. You know, we could make a separate file for scroll bar now, I think. I think we justify that. Do that. That's enough lines of code to, because we know it's going to be more later, so we might as well. So let's go file there and scroll bar. And yes, bottom line index, it belongs to console. I see. All right, so a couple things. We actually want to poke this color, because if this scroll bar is going to be reusable, this one is meant for the console. So color vector 4. And when we set this stuff, scroll bar dot color equals scroll bar background color. And this is just color and then bar color. And so instead of color, let's make that background color and bar color. Bar color vector 4. Yep.